Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new relationship advice stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled My 27M GF 22F of a year slept with another guy while we were taking it slow a month into dating me. I have been with this girl I'll call Jess for close to a year now. Since specifics matter here, we started dating around last Thanksgiving, but it was only about a month later when we said we're in an official relationship. I really liked this girl from the get-go and we've gotten very close since then, and we're actually planning of moving together soon. Here's a problem. Recently Jess and I ran into a guy at a small get-together with mutual friends. They exchanged a weird look like there was something between them, but I didn't think too much of it at the time. During the party something came up about the place Jess went to for a date. The time was clear since it was a Christmas market in my town, and again I thought something was off about the guy. Well, later that night I actually get a text from him. He got my number from one of the mutual friends, but said, "Hey, I don't know you, but I thought you should know that Jess and I hooked up right after Christmas." I confronted Jess about this and I could tell she tensed up right away. She got this sad look on her face, but confessed right away. She said she had met this guy on Tinder and hooked up a couple of times but stopped any contact before we became official. She said she wasn't sure we would get into a relationship at that time, but she still felt bad that I found out this way. She said she considered telling me but was afraid it would ruin things between us. I told her I needed some time to think and proceeded to get drunk that night and ignored her texts. The thing is, I feel very betrayed and I am really considering ending things. Sure, we weren't official when this happened, but we had already been on multiple dates at that time, and I thought it was pretty clear that we were moving towards a full-fledged relationship. On my side, I had no interest in pursuing other girls at that point because I only wanted to be with Jess. And on her end she was definitely hinting at us evolving into a couple and strongly hinting at exclusivity. The other part that kills me is that during this early stage, Jess specifically said she wanted to take things slow physically until we knew each other better. But during this same time she hooks up with a guy she barely knew from Tinder. When I asked her this, she said it's different because she took it slow with me specifically because she thought we would get into a relationship, but it was somehow different with a casual hookup. That logic makes zero sense to me. I don't really want to talk about with my friends because I think they would hate Jess if end up staying together. But I would like to hear opinions on here. Would you stay in a relationship like this if things were going well but the beginning was so shady? The next one is an update to the previous story. As the title says, I decided to break up with Jess. I kept going back and forth because I was worried I was throwing away a great thing over something that happened in the past. But the problem is I thought I really wouldn't able to get past it. I can't help what she did was really crappy. Yes, I know that technically she did not cheat. But she knew that I wanted a real relationship and that we were potentially moving in that direction. But meanwhile she expected me to plan and pay for interesting dates, court her and prove that I was worthy of her while she happily hooked up with randos who basically did nothing but show an interest in ducking. Duck that. In a follow-up conversation it also came up that her friends sort of guided her to act like this. That she should basically allow herself to have fun and to keep her casual options open, but with me to make me work for it and show that I wasn't just looking for sex but was capable of being a committed partner. The whole thing just seems so manipulative and ugly, and these were also mutual friends who I considered to be nice girls and now my friends as well. Now I never want to see any of those pieces of crap ever again. Anyway, I know this is starting to sound a bit like a rant lol, but I felt pretty pissed off and basically called it quits. The actual breakup was actually quite unpleasant. No harsh words were exchanged, but Jess cried and we kind of talked about some happy times. I guess that's the hardest part about this, like I don't think she is a bad girl and maybe we could have had a nice future together like we did over the past few months. But in the end, I do think I made the right decision. I want to be with someone who treats me well from the get-go, not someone who manipulates me while playing games just so she can have her cake and eat it too. The next story is titled, Would I Be Wrong to Ask If My Wife Is Cheating? My 31M wife, 31F, and I have been married for 2.5 years. She is very close with her sister, and sometimes stays over for movie nights, girl talk, etc. I have no problem with it. Lately, her sister has been having problems at work, and drama with her other siblings. Due to this stress, she has been asking my wife to spend the night more often. This has been annoying my wife, since she says she is unable to have any time to herself. This week, my wife has stayed over 3 times, including tonight, which is a little odd. On the way home from hanging with a friend, I became paranoid, and made the decision to drive by and check if she was really there. It was dark out, but it looked like her car was not there. Shortly after, I texted her that I made it home, and she said that she is getting ready to leave her sister's place. We have been having issues with intimacy for a while, and she has made a promise to work on it. These issues are starting to make me feel that she may be looking outside of our marriage to have her needs met. I want to confront her about her not being at her sister's, but I am worried that I may be wrong. Also, we are planning on attending a fireworks show with friends on Memorial Day, and don't want to make things awkward. Would I be wrong to confront her? The next one is an update to the previous story. I realized that I made a typo in my last post. We have been married for 1.5 years, not 2.5. As much as I wanted things to work with us, I have decided to dissolve the marriage with an annulment. We have spoken, and she is still unclear to why she decided to have an affair or why we remain sexless. She regrets that it happened, and is remorseful. I made some hurtful comments and insults when I found out about the affair, which was totally out of my character. I felt betrayed because I thought I was doing everything right in the marriage. This included counseling, prayer, and deep discussions. I feel bad because I really wanted things to work out. I truly felt that we had something special. I thought we would overcome the sex issues and would be okay. It hurts to let go, but I know it is for the best. My trust and self-confidence are non-existent. I've been told that my life will get much better from here on out. That I will one day meet someone who I will be much happier with. Hopefully things will get better for me, but right now I just don't see it. The next one is another update to the previous story. The morning when she got home, her phone received a notification when she was sleeping. The messages were from an old college crush. Apparently, she has been meeting him for sex instead of visiting her sister. This has been going on for over a year. She has met at his place, and our place. They were also emotionally involved. She asked him for more sex than she did with me our entire marriage. She managed to meet with him whenever I was away at work, or with my friends. I confronted her, and she tried to lie about everything. I backed her in a corner with evidence, and she eventually came clean. She cried, and tried apologizing several times, but I left the house. I had small suspicions over the years, but thought I was just being paranoid. We haven't had sex since we've been married and have been through counseling. Everything was great in our relationship otherwise. There was nothing wrong with her sex drive, she just enjoyed sex with other guy, and coming home to paid bills. I am so depressed and angry. I did everything I could to be a great husband. I didn't deserve any of this. This will most likely cause trust issues in my future relationships. The next story is titled, I found out that my 27M GF 23F of 9 months is part of Mean Girls type clique and am reconsidering the relationship. I met this girl I'll call Katie at a school event about a year ago, and we really clicked and soon made things official. I understand that I saw things partly through rose-colored glasses, but I really liked this girl to the point that I started thinking she might be the one. We just matched well on every level, have similar hobbies, but importantly I thought she was a really good and kind person. Now something happened that really made me reevaluate things. We were sitting in bed and she was texting and laughing about something. I glanced at the phone and saw the Tinder profile of a guy, which made me think WTF. When she went to take a shower, I am not super proud of this, I admit I snooped given what I thought I saw and checked her phone. When her phone opened up, it turns out that she wasn't on Tinder, but rather on a group chat with some friends, and the Tinder pic was a screenshot. Of course, that was a relief, but the rest of the context was just as bad in some ways. The group chat was basically a one-topic channel, where the theme was roasting the guys they hooked up with or were dating. And it was very explicit, talking about specific guys, together with their pics and joking about their inadequacy in bed or even how ill-endowed they were. As far as I scrolled, I wasn't featured on there, but I saw Katie herself write really mean comments, e.g. about a guy her friend was with who got emotional during sex, basically calling him a pathetic loser. I was just shocked to read those comments, because it seemed so out of character for her. When she got back in the room, I fessed up to the snooping and confronted her. Surprisingly, she wasn't really mad, but she also wasn't remorseful in the least. She said the chat was with her closest friends and they always talked about everything. I told her I thought it was really ducked up to talk this way about other people, especially since it wasn't just randos. I recognized a few mutual friends discussed on there in an explicit way, and I am sure they didn't consent to that information being discussed. But again, she got really defensive, said those were her closest friends and what they talk about is their business. I asked her if she talked about us as well, and she refused to answer. The conversation kind of tapered off at that point since we both realized we were too emotional and not getting anywhere, but I still feel very uncomfortable with the situation. I am afraid to be overreacting, but I am very seriously thinking about ending the relationship. I can't believe I am dating someone who thinks it's okay to treat other people this way and join in the public humiliation of people who did nothing wrong. But I would like some outside perspective from others if they've been in any kind of similar situation and/or if they think I am blowing this out of proportion. The next one is an update to the previous story. This all actually happened a few days after my original post, but things have been pretty hectic since then, but I wanted to write a quick update since I got some useful advice in the first thread. The best advice was to insist on seeing the chat one last time to see if she had written anything about me. She initially said no, because it also has private information about her friends, etc., etc. But I basically said if she doesn't let me see the texts it's over, and she reluctantly agreed, but told me to keep in mind that this was a year ago and how much we grew as a couple since then, blah blah blah. I scrolled to the period when we started dating and yay, sure enough, there I was in the texts. It actually made me feel really weird reading other people talking about me. Right around the time we first slept together, someone asked her if I was better than some guy, apparently a former FWB of hers. Without missing a beat, she fires back no, that it was kinda disappointing because I was nervous and had some performance anxiety, and then actually went into detail about what we did. She knew I was feeling anxious since I hadn't been with anyone in a while after a bad breakup, and she was supporting in person, so it felt extra crappy that behind my back she was complaining about me. A friend of hers even mocked me and she said nothing. Katie saw the look on my face and tried to tell me again that we grew so much and things became really good when we got comfortable with each other and connected. She even showed me a text where she said that to her friends. But honestly, at that point I was already done. I asked her to move out, and after a bit of drama and nasty words, she moved her stuff to her mother's place. As others said, I have no doubt they are not talking crap about me together, but honestly I could not care less what those pieces of crap are chattering about. I just never want to see any of them ever again. The next story is titled My Girlfriend F24 called Men, Failed Abortions, and is now trying to walk it back M23. My girlfriend has always had a hot streak in her for social issues. Normally this doesn't bother me at all, I agree with her on most issues. Yesterday we got into a fight because she saw an article about police violence and how it was mostly perpetrated by men. She said that men were failed abortions and we wouldn't have these problems if they were born women. I took offense to that and we ended up in an argument where she said that she clearly didn't mean all men and said I was being oversensitive. I felt like it definitely crossed a line, and it hit particularly hard because I've had some questioning of my gender identity and haven't always wanted to have been born a man. I've been open with her about this and she's usually supportive. The argument simmered down after a day or so, and now she's trying to walk the statement back and be apologetic for it. I'm having a really difficult time getting it out of my head and I'm not sure what to do. The next one is an update to the previous story. We left off while she was trying to apologize to me about the statement she made about saying all men were failed abortions. One of you commented something that really stuck out to me, that if she was apologizing at me it was a lot different than apologizing to me. Luckily it seemed that she was trying to apologize to me. I had told her I needed some space, so when I came back I kind of interrupted her apology and said I needed to say some stuff. I was pretty honest and brutal with her. I said that it really hurt to hear what she had said. That it was really difficult to process someone who tries to promote equality in their life making what I felt was a hateful and unnecessary blanketed statement. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why I felt as strongly as I did, and I realized that it felt like she was not only grouping me in with a group she felt like should have been aborted, but that she was saying men were worthless, failures, and were better off not existing because they weren't women. Echoing what a few commenters quoted, I was simply an incomplete female to her. I was limited by my XY chromosomes. I said in the original post that I've had some questioning of my gender identity, but I guess I didn't provide much background to it. It ended up that most of those sentiments are things I've thought to myself at one point. That I'd have been better off being born differently. That I'm worthless, a failure, that women are better than men out of femininity alone. I said all that to her, not as smoothly or without some discomfort, but I said it to her. Afterwards she cried a little bit and said she didn't know I felt that way and was sorry she said what she did. I pressed her a little bit to ask why she said it because, well, call me insecure, but I'm not the kind of person to make statements like that out of anger and was always taught growing up that they're off limits. It turns out that when she was in her second year at college she was accosted by a police officer while walking home one evening. It ended with her being sexually assaulted. From talking with her about it, it seems all this stuff with the police has understanding been bringing up a lot of feelings for her. I wasn't really expecting that, but I said if she needed to talk about anything I was there for her. I feel kind of selfish about it, but I did say that I don't think I could deal very well if she made some similar statement again. I told her that I knew why she'd say those things, but if she needed to say them that she shouldn't do it with me. I feel like that was harsh and selfish, but I told her I couldn't deal with generalized statements and I didn't feel like I could distance them from my own emotions. I apologized for that and said I'd be there for me if she needed it otherwise. At this point things just felt differently. I told her that I had decided I needed to talk to a therapist about my issues and try to figure out where I'm going with them. I floated the idea of her seeking out therapy too and she said she'd consider it. I think she will. I told her I loved her no matter what, but that I felt like I needed a break to recenter myself and get more understanding of my identity. She agreed to it, and that's where we're at today. We are still friends and still talking, but have taken a departure on the more intimate discussions between ourselves. The next story is titled, I, 26 meters, found out my father, 54 meters, sexually assaulted my GF, 24F. So my GF and I are very open with one another. We often play on each other's phones and never have problems with one another going onto each other's phones. If there's something specific we don't want each other going on, we tell one another and respect that. We don't have anything to hide, so. My GF has an app where she records her dreams, and she is usually fine with me going on that because they're strange and funny sometimes and make for a good conversation. But today when I went onto that app, there was a dream of my dad being inappropriate with her and she typed about the actual sexual assault. I was really shocked. I decided to go into her messages and searched for keywords, and I actually found a convo about it with her best friend. I read the whole thing and I am so disgusted in my father. I'm so angry. She never told me because she didn't want to ruin mine and my father's relationship, but this is such an important thing. I'm not going to immediately take her side. I want to ask her about it, but I'm scared that asking her about it will do more damage than good. I'm really stuck with what to do in this situation. Should I ask her about it or rather not? And if I do and it's true, what should I do and help her do? The next one is an update to the previous story. So this is how things have played out. I decided to speak to my GF about it and she started crying and handed me her messages to read. I pretended I hadn't seen them because she gave me it anyways. We spoke a lot about it and in the end I told her I won't be mad if she decides to press charges. She also asked me to not speak to my father just yet because she wanted to talk to my mother. We both eventually called my mum and spoke to my mum about it. My mum was really mad and went to speak to my father about it while we were on call. He admitted to doing it and blamed his alcohol that he did it. He has been an alcoholic all my life and would often blame his alcoholism on things. My mother was obviously furious and kicked him out the house. She told him he is not allowed to come back to the house until he has been to rehab. My girlfriend has decided not to press charges. I've told her numerous times it's okay if she does. For now she wants to stay away from family events that he will be at, and she would like to cut contact with him. She says I don't have to, but I want to rather keep contact with just my mother. Maybe in future if he changes and if he sorts himself out, I'll get into contact. Where are we now? My father is in rehab sorting out his addiction as well as seeing psychologists for his behavior. My girlfriend and I are going to counseling separately and together. She is also going for sleep therapy due to reoccurring nightmares of the trauma. I feel so guilty that this has happened. If I had known my father was this bad, I would have never left her alone with him. I am also paying for my mother's counseling. I'm trying my best to help my mum and my girlfriend, and I'm trying to give them the best possible support I can. I'm still trying to get over the shock and guilt though. Thanks for everyone's support and help. Hopefully this is the right path. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comment.